May 19th, 2372. The people of Cardassia Prime find themselves in the throes of revolution. The military regime which for over 70 years has led Cardassia to its greatest victories and most humiliating defeats has crumbled to dust. New ideals of liberty and democracy stand ready to take its place. Little do the Cardassians know, the chaos is far from over. Mere light years from the border, a mighty fleet of over 100 Klingon warships stands poised to strike, ready to cut deep into the flesh of Cardassian territory and bleed her dry, ready to return to the old ways. The Cardassians, so embroiled in their own affairs, will not realize what is happening until it is too late, as the Klingons embark on their largest and boldest campaign in over a century. 80 years of peace are about to come to an end in spectacular fashion. Doom is bound for Cardassia, carried on the wings of Kahless. The coup on Cardassia Prime and increasing anxiety over potential Dominion infiltration or invasion of the Alpha Quadrant has given Chancellor Gowron the justification to embark on a bold military campaign, on which he hopes to win glory for his regime, capture new territories, and distract from his regime's endemic corruption. At Deep Space Nine alone, over 80 ships have been stationed, with a further 40 ships spread along the border. This massive invasion would see the Klingons deploy over a third of their forces to the region. The invasion was masterminded by General Martok, which was codenamed Operation Shlemjev. The primary objective of this operation was the capture of key Cardassian worlds and manufacturing facilities, with the secondary objective being the complete elimination of any organized resistance, objectives that were eminently achievable given the Cardassians' present state. The Klingon invasion plans bore a striking resemblance to those seen in the 4 Years' War, albeit on a much grander scale, with emphasis on speed, maneuver, and surprise, what the Klingons referred to as Turev Ves, or lightning war. The primary weapon to facilitate this strategy would be the cloaking device, which would allow the Klingons to choose their engagements, bypassing heavy fortifications and ultimately outmaneuvering the Cardassians. Equally, the cloaking device imposed certain limitations on Klingon tactics. It being more primitive compared to its Romulan contemporaries, it allowed only short-range subspace signals to be sent, and it limited the use of long-range sensors. As a result, a heavy emphasis was placed in Klingon doctrine on the use of birds of prey as scout ships, and on squadron and battle group commanders taking the initiative to exploit weaknesses in the enemy position and achieve a breakthrough. This doctrine was largely informed by experiences in the Klingon Civil War, in which the cloaking device rendered large set-piece battles a thing of the past. Rather, engagements were fought between small mobile battle groups, often no larger than 15 ships. By contrast, Cardassian doctrine was heavily influenced by their experiences in the Federation border war, placing an emphasis on large linear fleets that would fight in deep space, and emphasized a rigid top-down command structure to compensate for the poor quality of Cardassian officers. As a result of both doctrine and technical limitations, the plan for Operation Shlemjev, as laid out by General Martok, was simple yet effective. The main group of 80 ships, led by the Negvar, containing 2 Vochar battle groups, 2 Borel attack wings, 2 mixed battle groups, 1 Katinga attack wing, and a heavy battle group, with the 2 flank fleets mustering 20 ships comprising of a Borel attack wing and a mixed battle group. The main fleet would spearhead the advance into Cardassian territory, with Burrell attack wings fanning out and scouting the Cardassian deployments. They would then pass this information to the Vochar battle groups, which would concentrate the attack at the weakest point. Once broken, the Cardassians would be forced to fall back to avoid encirclement. As they did so, the Burrell attack wings would continually harass the Cardassians, preventing them from regrouping and allowing the Klingons to pick off isolated formations one by one. If the defense proved too stubborn, they could bring up either a heavy battle group or the Negvar to smash fortified positions. However, this was not something the Klingons would do lightly. Gowron was acutely aware of the imminent Dominion threat and knew that such fortifications would be indispensable in future conflicts. On the 26th of May, Operation Shemjev commenced, as General Martok issued a single order: Encha! Begin. With that, over 100 Klingon ships cloaked and began their charge into Cardassian space. Fortunately, the Cardassians were warned by an anonymous source of the imminent attack, and a task force was cobbled together under Gul Madred, who hoped to escape the political turmoil on Cardassia. Unfortunately, while a capable intelligence officer, he was largely inexperienced as a battle commander, and so he had escaped the frying pan only to face the fire. His fleet of 47 ships stood alone against the Klingon invasion force. Yet, as fortune would have it, he was joined by Jagol Osset of the Guard's Order. Osset had in fact been dispatched by the Detapa Council to arrest Madred, but with the Klingons merely hours away, she elected to cooperate with him. Osset, having dealt with the Klingons in the past, planned a counterattack-based defense in which she hoped to exploit Klingon doctrine and behaviors. She ordered Madred to deploy his fleet along a wide defensive front, as Cardassian doctrine dictated, with a line of ships stretching 3 parsecs, covering a significant swath of space, but close enough for initial reinforcements to arrive within hours, and the rest to be no more than 24 hours away. This doctrine was derived from experiences in the border wars, wherein whomever was able to reinforce a flashpoint first would have the advantage. Yet Osset herself did not join this line. Instead, she deployed her fleet of 35 ships behind the main line, where a deliberate weak spot had been created, hoping that when the Klingons broke through, they would be so focused on pursuing Madred that they would become isolated, and her ships could cut off and encircle the Klingons, blunting the offensive. Osset's optimism was well justified by the ships under her command. Being of the Guard's Order, they had the finest officers leading them, at least those who had not been purged, and the best ships, chief among which was the Galor II. Developed after the Federation border war, the Galor II was equipped with numerous advanced technologies, boasting a newer, more powerful engine, an advanced isolinear computer system, superior targeting sensors, and exotic pulse disruptor cannons. Galor IIs can be more easily distinguished through their orange-yellow deflector dish and Broussard collectors. Unfortunately, the cost of the Galor II proved exorbitant, and it never saw widespread use, instead being exclusively issued to the Guard's Order, and the two soon became synonymous. Supporting the two Galor lines were 3 Ryzalak light squadrons. Commissioned in 2368 to replace the Kulinor, the Ryzalak was intended to better support its larger cousin, while still being a well-rounded light cruiser in itself. Measuring in at 231 meters long, 173 meters wide, and a draft of 60 meters, it is operated by a crew of 347. It is armed with 8 light disruptors, prow heavy disruptors, and 2 torpedo launchers. However, the key improvement over the Kulinor is durability. The Ryzalak sees an increase in shield power, and its hull is significantly more armoured and robust. On May 27th, Klingon forces made first contact with the Cardassians, with Burrell wings swarming Madred's position Less than 30 minutes after, Colonel Nudak engaged the 6th Order Galor line with his own Vochar battle group. A Vochar battle group is generally composed of 4 Vochar cruisers, supported by 6 Barrels. Of these, only 2 Vochar are of the standard configuration, with one being equipped with a prow torpedo launcher in place of its heavy disruptor, and the command ship generally utilizing the command module, in conjunction with an ECM dorsal module, as these ships often serve as command ships for entire regiments. In mere minutes, Nudak's battle group tore through the Cardassian line confronting them. The Barrels swarmed them, breaking up the formation and distracting the Galors from the closing Vochars. While the 2 escorting Lekats tried to keep the Barrels at bay, they were simply overwhelmed, and in short order, 3 of the 5 Galors were destroyed, causing the 2 remaining ships to flee and creating a gap in Cardassian lines. It seemed to Oset that everything was going according to plan, yet this would soon change. 1 light year away, the Vochar group under Colonel Kachang attacked the Cardassian line, engaging at an overlap between 2 Galor lines, the Bird of Prey Vanguard being challenged by a Galor from one and a Lekat destroyer from the other. Developed from the Hideki series of escorts, the Lekat class employs many of the same components as seen in its smaller cousin. The Lekat serves as a long-range patrol vessel and is frequently seen escorting the larger Galors, it having comparable range. 203 meters long, 122 meters across, and 28 meters high, the Lekat is an extremely sleek and agile design, although it lacks the durability of ships like the Rysalak. It is armed with 5 light pulse disruptors optimized for engaging fighters and small skiffs, and 6 medium spiral wave disruptors to engage capital ships. Due to the patchwork nature of Madred's fleet, the 2 battle group commanders came into conflict over the appropriate course of action. Normally this would be resolved by the senior legate within the order, but no such officer was present. As a result, they informed Madred of their situation and awaited his orders, unaware that 4 attack cruisers were closing in. However, Madred himself was preoccupied as he was rapidly losing control of the situation across the front, as the Rysalak squadron guarding the flank of Oset's position came under attack by Major Tamaka's Barrel wing from the Klingon flank fleet. Fearing being outflanked and exposing Oset's trap, Madred redeployed his center Galor line to reinforce the flank, yet he gave no orders regarding the attack by the 2nd Vochar group, instead simply ordering the redeployment of the remaining center line. As a result, he left the center overly stretched, and Kachang's Vochar group broke through, destroying the Galor and Lekat which opposed them, as well as another Galor which attempted to intercept them. Kachang's current vector now put him on course to meet Oset's guard division. Although he did not yet realize it, Kachang had completely compromised Oset's defense. Meanwhile, Oset lay in wait unaware of the threat to her flank, as she watched for Nudak to fall into her trap. Unfortunately, as fate would have it, just as Nudak appeared on their sensors, Kachang's Vochars decloaked in the middle of the assembly area, obliterating 1 Galor in their first volley. Another was destroyed as the Cardassians attempted to regroup, yet they were soon swarmed by Kachang's Barrels. Fortunately, Oset's Lekats were able to keep them at bay for the time being, allowing Oset to return fire, only to see it to come to no avail. The few shots that did land were easily absorbed, and soon Kachang's Vochars closed to point-blank range, their guns trained on the 3 remaining Galors. Fortunately for Oset, the supporting Rysalak squadron counterattacked, allowing Oset the chance to escape to warp, although not without cost, as 2 Rysalaks were caught and destroyed by the Vochars, which managed to keep pace with the smaller and supposedly more agile ships. Even with the time she had bought, Oset's lead was rapidly diminishing. Even at maximum warp, they had only 15 minutes before Kachang could re-engage them. Elsewhere, Tamaka's Barrel squadron blew through the flank guard Ryzalak squadron. The Cardassian commander attempted to give chase, but lost track of them as they cloaked. Tamaka then happened upon the other half of Oset's reserve. Unable to resist the opportunity in front of him, Tamaka ordered his Borel wing to engage, although he did not neglect to inform the fleet commander of his discovery. Realizing he was outgunned by the larger Cardassian gallows, he employed the Wej-e-ke, or cloak and dagger tactics, with one bird of prey drawing fire while the other attacked the target's flank. When the Cardassians turned to respond, the third ship would decloak to strike the flank again, while the first recloaked to recharge its shields. By employing these tactics, Tamaka was able to tie down the second guards group for 30 minutes, disabling one Galor, a Lakat, and 2 Hidekis, while only losing 2 Borels himself. And once the mixed group under Colonel Grigok arrived, the Cardassian position began to disintegrate, coming under fire from Katingas and Vochas, all the while being continually harassed by Borels, preventing them from regrouping. Panicking, the Cardassian commander ordered a retreat and summoned the Ryzalak support squadron. Unfortunately, the officer in command of the squadron now faced an unenviable dilemma. His original orders mandated that he remain in position and await the fleet pursuing the main line, intercept it and bring it out of warp to allow the main guards to close in and surround the Klingons. Yet now he was receiving a request from the 2nd Division for reinforcements. Unsure of what to do, he attempted to contact Oset for new orders, but was unable to reach her due to Klingon jamming, courtesy of ECM modules carried aboard several Vocha. As a result, the squadron commander wasted a large amount of time pondering how to respond, hesitant to take the initiative and make a decision, as before he could the fleeing battle group appeared on sensors, with the Klingons hot on their heels. Following his original orders, he moved to intercept, not realizing he would be engaging without the support of the rest of the guard. Meanwhile, Oset resolved to hold her position and repel the Klingons, and so she dropped out of warp around a large asteroid and organized her fleet, pairing the Ryzalak with the Galors and placing the Lakats and Hidekis around the edge of the formation. When Kachang arrived, he ordered his Vochas to engage the line head-on, distracting Oset while the Borels closed in under cloak, before opening fire along their flank. As they did, Kachang ordered his Vochas to execute a charge at full speed, adopting the anvil break formation, rapidly closing to close range, destroying another Galor and a Ryzalak as they crashed through Oset's formation. Kachang quickly brought his ships around for another pass. All the while, his Borels continually pressured the Cardassian flanks, preventing them from breaking formation, and in so doing, Kachang had carried out a Gol Kujmemo, otherwise known as a bait ball, imitating the behavior of large hunting fish on Cronus. With another pass, Kachang destroyed Oset's flagship, and soon after, panic set in throughout the Cardassian fleet, and organized resistance broke down. Within 10 minutes, all Cardassian ships had been destroyed. Elsewhere, Colonel Grigok continued his pursuit of the 2nd Cardassian Guards, picking off the straggling Cardassian ships with his Borels, slowly eating away at their numbers. The Cardassian commander had come to believe that the Klingons were engaging their line on a perpendicular vector so as to roll them up one at a time, and so he had maneuvered his group to form a new line, and he soon believed he had been vindicated as he was joined by Madred's Gallows, which had in fact been dispatched to reinforce their flank. Now outgunned, Grigok moved far more cautiously, skirmishing with the Cardassians at range. What Madred had failed to realize was their proximity to the original breakthrough by Nudak. And while Nudak himself remained focused on his main target, other elements following behind broke off to engage, and soon Grigok was joined by a Katinga wing with another formation close behind. The Cardassians were soon surrounded by the Katinga and Vocha, savagely bombarded the Cardassians from range, while the Borels closed in on the stragglers, and soon the entire Cardassian fleet was destroyed. Finally, Nudak was only faced by the Guard's Ryzalak squadron, unwittingly unsupported. Nudak did not hesitate to engage them, and joined by the second Borel wing, quickly wiped them out. And so ended the Battle of Sector 73 Epsilon. And now the Klingons were a mere 52 hours from Cardassia Prime itself. In total, the Klingons had destroyed 49 ships, 11 Galors, 10 Guard Galors, 9 Ryzalaks, 8 Lakats, 11 Hidekis, killing 20,000 Cardassians, all while only losing 10 Borels themselves, and not a single Vocha or Katinga was destroyed. The battle had lasted merely 2 hours, but its shockwave would be felt for years to come. The Battle of Sector 73 Epsilon brought an end to 80 years of peace and gave the Alpha Quadrant a taste of the carnage to come.